Okay, I think we are all set. So thank you guys for taking 30 minutes of your day to invest in your business. Charlotte and I were talking about sponsoring, and I don't know about you guys, but my August has been really slow for sales. So my goal this month is kind of away from sales because people are busy, they're on vacation, myself included. So my goal this month is to sponsor. And I've had kind of a dry spell in sponsoring personally. So I think that even talking about this is going to be good for me to just kind of get back to basics. So we wanted to do kind of like a sponsoring 101. So Stella and Dot, starting, I guess, maybe like 6 months ago, did these really great podcasts. And if you guys don't listen to podcasts that often, they do everything from booking to sponsoring, like literally everything. And I listened to the 2 sponsoring ones this morning. Again, it took 15 minutes. So they're really quick, they're to the point, and it's something where if you have an hour to devote to your business today, starting off with like a little podcast like that is really great. And it gives tips. It just kind of gets you in the mindset of Stella and Dot. So I guess my takeaways from the podcast, I just wanted to go through kind of what they discussed, and maybe we can even talk about that too. One of the things that we always forget is we need to build awareness, and that's where sponsoring really stems from. Think about before you knew about Stella and Dot, did you even know that you could become a stylist? The answer is probably no. So a lot of times we forget in talking about booking, and talking about sponsoring, people don't realize that they can do these things. If they go to a trunk show, they assume that the hostess, reached out to you, maybe she paid you money. She doesn't understand that the hostess is actually getting rewards from doing the show. So the same goes for sponsoring, right? The fact that people don't understand that they too can do this. And we also have to keep in mind that people do decide to join as a stylist for tons of different reasons. So some of the reasons that they give on the podcast were about financial reasons, obviously, getting out of the house for whatever reason, having girl time, all of the things that we know. So just remember to reflect on that as well. We also tend to just overthink it. I mean, myself included. It's one of those things where I make my who do you know list and I'm like, well, should I text her? Should I call her? Should I Facebook her? Like, should I email her? What do I say when I email her? I don't want to overwhelm her. So I write the email like 8 times. Just do it. One of the things they talked about is there's 2 types of people that sponsor a lot and people that don't. And the people that sponsor a lot don't overthink it and they just do it. And so I think that is a great goal for us all to have, especially this month. To just reach out. And if it's something where you end up saying too much or too little, or you end up spelling something wrong in your text message, who cares? Because you actually ended up sending the message in the first place. You know what I mean? The other thing to think about too is it is more fun to do it with a friend. So a lot of us have sponsored in the past like 6 months, or even if you haven't, as you're starting to sponsor, having that conversation of, yes, you should be a stylist. And also, how fun would it be if you did this with a friend and a business partner? I started this business on my own. I didn't sponsor my first stylist until I think I was a stylist for like 6 months. And in retrospect, I really wish I had someone, because it's great to talk to your sponsor. It's great to talk to your team members. But if you have someone that you're starting with, you're just more invested in the business anyway. So keep that in mind too. They also give the statistic that not only would 60% of hostesses rehost with us, but 15% would actually sign up as a stylist if asked. So when we start to think about making our who do you know list, really start with your hostesses. Go back over your last year and think back to who was a really engaged hostess. Not necessarily had the best trunk show, but who was engaged, who was texting you back, who invited a ton of people. Maybe a ton of people didn't come, but she was really excited about it in general. A successful trunk show doesn't necessarily have to be monetarily based. I mean, we like to be like, oh my gosh, a Purple Dot show, that's amazing. But at the end of the day, if the hostess had a really great time and you've maintained a connection with her, or even she's become a great customer, however you want to equate it to success, that's just kind of what matters. So reflect on that a little bit when we start to make our who do you know list. So when we talk about, so that was the first little part. The first little podcast was about, you know, how to build awareness, how to kind of start sponsoring out. The second podcast was more about warming up. So how do you warm up? Obviously, each person is going to be different, right? So you can have a template for what you're going to send out to people, like a text or an email. But at the end of the day, the important part is that you take that 5 minutes to really adjust your reach outs to whoever you're reaching out to. And I know that's a duh statement, but I just wanted to iterate that just because, you know, sending out 5 quick text messages is really easy and changing the name is really easy. But if you include something specific to them, that's what's going to make the difference. And they're going to continue to read your text or your email or whatever else. They're not going to feel like just someone you sent a random text to. You know what I mean? They also give this statistic, and we all know this, that you have to reach out, you know, similar how for booking, it's you reach out to 10 to book 1. It's more like a 40-to-1 basis for sponsoring. So you reach out to 40, you sponsor 1. Now, that seems like a huge number, but that 40 is just 40 touch points. So they talk about the fact that, you know, I didn't sign up right away when I heard about Stellandot. I mean, my situation was a little different because I didn't even know you could do it, which goes back to my point about building awareness and making sure people know their options. But they say that, you know, I think they said like 5% of people sign up from the first touch point. So you hear about Stellandot once, you sign up, 5% of people are like that. And then it starts to grow up to 10%, 20%, whatever, the more touch points you have. So on average, someone will sign up with Stellandot after they've had 4 touch points. And that might mean, you know, they saw Stellandot on Instagram, they ordered something online, they went to a trunk show, and you asked them to meet a stylist. Those could be the 4 touch points. So when I say you reach out to 40 to sponsor 1, that could mean that you reach out to 20 people twice. So you warm them up and you follow them up. So don't get overwhelmed with that whole 40 number that I just said. Having a system in place is really important. We use the 10-4 tracker to book, which is that really great printout that Style Your Summer, Step Up Your Summer, whatever they've branded it as. That's really great to manage your booking and who you're reaching out to book shows, but that's also really helpful when it comes to sponsoring as well, just to keep yourself organized. What I realized too, I reach out to a ton of people, and then if I don't hear back from them, I tend to, and I hate admitting this, I tend to kind of just lose track of them. And then it's something where I randomly find an email that was 6 months old and I'm like, shoot, I never sent her that information, or, oh no, I didn't do this. So if you have something to keep yourself organized, it's just better if you do it that way. Some words to say, and this is kind of like just a side note, and I know this and I know we all know this, but I just want to reiterate this again as well. When you're at a trunk show, when you're doing your group hello, you know, I mentioned hostesses are a very good potential stylist bucket to have. So also think about your customers in a trunk show. And when you do your group hello, that's kind of when you can build that awareness of their options with Stellandot. So that's when you say, you know, there are 3 ways that you can shop today. 1, you like a couple pieces, let's get them to you in 2 to 3 days. You'll have them on vacation for next weekend. Let's say that you have $500 in your cart. Well, that is crazy for you to spend $500 today. Let's get you a couple pieces, and then let's talk about getting your own trunk show on the books for you to get the rest of your wish list for free. Or you have to have everything, we need to talk because you need to do what I do. So even simple words like that, just kind of remind yourself. Because I listened to the podcast this morning and I was like, it's so easy. You know, it doesn't sound pushy. It just sounds, you're giving them the options of what they have to do today. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about in today's little sponsoring video. So the idea of building awareness, the idea of getting comfortable with sponsoring, why people would want to become a stylist in general, and reflecting a little bit on that, and then warming up people. So what we're going to do for the rest of the call, which is like 15 minutes, is I'd love for you guys to ask questions, but I'd also love for us to kind of spitball and brainstorm different buckets of people. One of my good friends on another team posted this list. So when we build Who Do You Know lists, either for booking, for sponsoring, whatever, we use the acronym FRANK, where it's like friends, relatives, associates, networking, like kids, or whatever, whatever FRANK stands for. I don't even remember at this point. But Christine posted a list of newer buckets. So obviously I mentioned hostesses. Top customers should be in a bucket as well. If someone is spending, like you go through your orders and you see that someone spent over $200, you should be reaching out to them to become a stylist as well. Other buckets, and she's just trying to get your brain kind of moving. High school pals, college, grad school pals, play groups, parenting groups if you have kids, exercise classes, family members, old coworkers, new coworkers, people with a different hair color than you. I love using the example. So the woman who posted this, Christine Swartz, she's out of Virginia. She's under Amanda McDaniel, who is in not Virginia Beach. She's in the Outer Banks. And Amanda always uses a story. So it's Amanda, and then she sponsored Christine. Amanda uses the story that she was totally desperate to find new stylists. And she was like, you know what? I have blonde hair at the moment. I'm going to sponsor a redhead. And so she basically got on Facebook and looked for people with red hair, and that was her bucket for the day. That's who she reached out to. And Christine happened to have strawberry blonde hair. And so she's technically a redhead, and she reached out to Christine, and Christine joined her team and is now one of our top, she's going for senior director this fall, which is amazing. So just getting yourself, and if you're finding that it's not fun, you're like, this is so dumb, like I can't come up with anybody, make it fun. Do a redhead, teachers, pick a profession maybe. Like I'm going to sponsor a nurse. I'm going to sponsor, a stay-at-home mom. Kind of however you want to do that. More buckets to think about. People engaged in fundraising. I think fundraiser trunk shows are the absolute best. That's where, you can work with the hostess and you can help her donate back to her cause, whether that be through hostess rewards, whether that be through your personal commission that you are going to donate, however you want to do that. But fundraisers are a great way to network and expand your network while doing great in your community and giving back and just making Style and Dot look really amazing because you're willing to do something like that. And then I think that's pretty much it. So with this being said, why don't you guys unmute yourselves? And let's start with any questions that you might have. And then after that, I'd love it if you guys can think of like a bucket, or maybe you just had an aha moment and you can think of someone that you are going to reach out to today, however you guys want to do it. So any questions? Hey, Lori.
Hi. I don't really have any questions. I think in my case, I'm thinking of who else can I reach out to. And while you were talking, I was just writing down some new buckets because that was just one of the things I was thinking kind of funnel my attention. So the top shoppers, yes, I have offered it. I have clients that just would much rather shop.
Yeah.
But true. But I have done a lot of pop-ups at gyms. So I'm going to do a separate tracker. So I've given up on the trackers because I literally go through way too many. So I have a binder. I'm like, this is sucking my print cartridge. So I have a binder, and I'm just going to do that moving forward. So I'll do one page for just gym clients that I've met in the last 6 months to a year. I am still following up with that. I did like a wellness sort of talk thing. So I have about 30 something people. I'm on touch 3 by this point, by the time I sent the email out. Haven't really heard anything, but we're just going to keep plugging at it because there were at least 4 people in particular that were really interested in the stylist opportunity, but I'm not getting any responses via email yet.
So what would your warm-up words to say be for someone that you met at the gym? And I guess these words I would assume could be applicable even if like I was at the gym and met a random girl. This would maybe be something I could use to say. So what would I'm going to totally put you on the spot. What would your words to say warm-up be?
I think I would tailor it based on the person I'm chatting with. So let me think of one particular client. She was going on vacations and such, and that's why she wasn't able to but I guess
actually, if you guys aren't speaking, if you could mute yourself just so it doesn't keep cutting over to each of you. Go ahead, Avril.
The last conversation I had with her was on bookings. I think I would just reach out and just say, hey, Jessica, hope you're having a great summer. How was that fantastic trip you're telling me about? And I would make reference to whatever she purchased for that trip.
Yeah.
Working out, hopefully getting a conversation going. I am getting ready for the fall, getting all my clients all fall ready. And I thought of you. I know we were not able to do it during the summer, but fall is here. I'd love to give you a fall refresh. How about gathering the girls together and let's play dress up? And by the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think you'd be great as a stylist. We could always chat about it later, but for now, let's get you a fabulous fall shopping spree on me. I have this date and this date available. I'll follow up and see what you think.
I think that's awesome. And I think one of the things too, when you're reaching out, so like a gym specifically, so women that you would meet at the gym, whether it's through a pop-up, whether it's randomly like you're working out next to her and you guys strike up a conversation, they obviously care about their appearance, right? Like they're at the gym to be their best self. And so accessories is another way to kind of make yourself feel good. So it can be something like, look, I know that you invest in yourself. Like I've seen you at the gym 5 days, like, the once a week I've been here, you're always here, like however you want to say it. But even tailoring it to that, the person that you're going to meet at the gym is someone that cares about themselves and they care about what they look like. They care about being healthy. They care about just themselves. Obviously, they invest in themselves. So you're already investing in yourself with working out. Why don't you invest in yourself and start a new side gig? You never know where this could go. So even kind of thinking about it that way, even going back, what did somebody else say about, I'm going back to those other buckets to kind of think of words to say. Someone that's engaged in fundraising. Maybe you've seen them post links on Facebook about raising money for a friend or raising money for a cause, reaching out and saying, as a stylist, I think it's really cool. I just wanted to tell you, we have the opportunity because it's our own business. I run my own business. I can kind of do with that whatever I want. So the fact that, I know that you are a huge supporter of the ASPCA. As a stylist, you can actually support the ASPCA and help others support the ASPCA. So think about that when you're warming people up and reaching out. I mean, when I talk about tailoring words, you also want to think about why you put that woman in that bucket, right? Like if you decide to reach out to stay-at-home moms, why would a stay-at-home mom want to become a stylist? Is she bored? Is she empty nesting? Like her kids are out of the house now. Does she want to go back to a full-time job? Probably not. Is this a fun addition she could have? Maybe she doesn't need to do it for financial reasons. Maybe she just wants to be out around people more, I think about to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has been a stay-at-home mom since the kids were in middle school. And now, my husband's 33 years old and she's bored. And she used to sell Carlisle, which is like the higher end. It's like Cabby is like the clothing stuff. And then Carlisle is like a step above that. And she loved it. She loved having everybody over and hosting people and dressing up her friends and meeting people in the local community. So that would be a reason that she would be a stylist. And that's what I would say to her when I would warm her up. So kind of when I talk about tailoring your words to say, that's what I really mean. Obviously throwing in like, oh, like how your kids are and how your vacation is and all that kind of stuff, that's super important too, because that means you remember her and she's just not, you know, sales in your bucket. But really making her think of why she would want to be a stylist, you know? I think back to some of the reasons why stylists have signed up on my team. And at the end of the day, I think it's also they like you, right? Like they like who you are. They feel comfortable around you. So if you're genuine with them, you're not just sending a random email. Like that's how they're going to reach out to you. So yeah. So Lori or Erin, do you guys have anything to say? Any questions, or do you guys need help thinking through any words to say or brainstorming?
I think for me, it's still like focusing time and balancing. So I am a stay-at-home mom for 24 years or whatever. And so me meeting a whole new group of people is challenging for me. Like I stay at home, I go to church, my husband works, my kids are all over the place right now, like college and getting back to senior year of high school. And so I'm really distracted. That's my personality. I'm not a plan ahead. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. So that's my bad. So I'm trying to figure out how to reach out and meet new people. And I've over-reached out to all my friends. Like, they all know. And so
their awareness is high.
They're ready. I go online and I do live things, and that's easy kind of for me because I'm kind of quirky, and I don't know. People say it's funny. So I do that sometimes. But, like, I need to go beyond that more. And, like, doing, I think, pop-ups. I've reached out to some places with pop-ups and haven't heard back. So I need to, like, follow up and do more things like that. My husband's even like, I'll stick a book out. And I reached out to some of his coworkers, and they just don't. No one responds to me. And that's just, it's discouraging because nobody emails me back or texts me or anything. So I have to, like, glaze over and know it's okay and just keep moving. And that's where I stall. And then I just slow down. So that's my bad. So there I am.
Well, and I think too, with you were saying you've exhausted your closer network. I mean, that's when you reach out for referrals. And so maybe that customer who's spending $200 with you is not interested in becoming a stylist, but you say, look, I love this. Like, I love this side business I've started. I am obsessed. I think everyone should be a stylist. I know you don't want to be. Can you think of anybody? Like, I just get so excited, and I love to just talk to somebody who you think would be interested. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna feel the emotion off of you, and you have that's where your strong point is, your face and your voice. You know, that's why people don't get back to you with email. People hate emails. I hate emails. If I can see a video of someone, or if I can talk to someone on the phone, that's more engaging. I think back to, again, my sponsoring has been like pathetic in the last 3 months. But the girl that I sponsored in June, we did a Zoom video, and she signed up because I Zoomed with her. I think that if we had continued to communicate over email, it wouldn't have been that quick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the fact that if you have someone face to face, or they can hear your voice, that's when you're really going to kind of seal the deal, because they do hear that emotion, and they do hear how genuine and how excited you are. Mm-hmm. So yeah, reaching out for referrals, I think following up with those places for pop-ups, I think that's where you're going to get out of your comfort zone, and that's where you need to be, you know?
Okay.
So yeah. And that goes back to what I said about the 10-4 tracker. I mean, keeping yourself organized. And if you're kind of all over the place, it's like, all right, well, it's noon. I'm working my business noon to 1 every day this week. And really setting aside that hour or 2 hours or however long you want to go to really do something. Because what happens, and we talked about this at Hoopla, if you go balls to the wall for like a week and then you don't really hear anything back, you lose your momentum. And you're like, all right, well, I did so much work last week. Like, I'm not really going to do anything this week. If you're continuously doing a little bit every day, that's where you're going to build better momentum. And you're going to all of a sudden have that as part of your schedule every day. And that way, when you do hear those hard no's and, you know, you don't hear back from people and you're getting frustrated, it's just, all right, well, tomorrow when I have my hour, like, I'm going to do this instead. So you just kind of flex to do something different to make your business move forward. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Something I just wrote down that might work for Lori is that I had a talk. So I was trying to book this young lady, and she's very active in her church. And you just mentioned you go to church a lot. And then at first I tried to get her to come on as a stylist. That wasn't working out. So I then switched to a hostess because I just wanted to get it in front of her and see how easy it is for her. And we're still chatting about that. Initially, I threw it out there, let's do it with your church group. So you're so active in the church, you could choose to keep some of your rewards for yourself, donate some for fundraising activities, that sort of thing. She loved it. And we did get a booking, but what they had in mind wasn't what I was talking to her with. Basically what they had in mind was me coming over and do like a meet S&D.
Right.
And my brain went off like, well, I'm not going to say no. So I just reached out to her and she said they wanted to do a little bit more time. But then it just, again, as we're chatting, I'm writing down the buckets. And then it just dawned on me that, and one of the things I'd love to do more is more talks. Like if I could go to like church groups, tons of women there, lots of opportunity. And maybe Lori, you could do the same. Reach out to, so what I'm going to do is literally just do a Google search after we're done chatting and see all of the churches that are near me. And I'm going to either pick up the phone. Well, for me, I like to just pick up the phone and call and just find out who do I talk to in reference to, I work with this great company. A big part of our mission is to provide women the means to style their own lives, female entrepreneurship and such. Who can I chat with to be able to come by and just a quick Q&A just to see if anyone might be interested, blah, 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 blah. So that might be something you might want to do.
That's a really great idea. Because if you think about it, it doesn't always have to be about a trend show. You know, it doesn't always have to be an immediate result, right? So Avril mentioned that she did this like wellness talk. Even doing something where you reach out to a women's group and say, look, I work for an accessories company. Fall is coming up. We just had a new collection. I would love to come in and do like a 30-minute like trends session and go through some trends, go through some ways to go and take your, you know, finance wardrobe from day to night. Like doing something like that is also really helpful because then that will put your face in front of however many new people that can segue into shows, that can segue into potential stylists. It's just maybe you didn't make any sales by doing this 30-minute talk, but the fact that you're free, you're willing to give your time to come in and provide like a cool, fun activity, you never know what can come from that. So yeah, I think Avril, that's a great idea. And I think even like spinning that in different things, like going back to the gym thing, like talking to people like that. Going to a mommy's group. I mean,
yeah, I just wrote down mommy's groups.
Yeah. Like reaching out to one of those mommy meetup groups and saying, look, you know, again, fall is here. I would love to come in and do some quick, like, we just got some crazy new delicates in, you know, like again, catering to the mom aspect of it all. So that's a good idea too. Great minds.
Yeah. And keep your spirits up, Lori. I do.
Thank you.
I just finished like an hour of cold calling for a pop-up. So trust me when I tell you, it's not always sexy. And we all have those moments, and Lord knows I have been mentally like keeping myself up this week. But you have to mentally stay strong. You're not getting responses, pick up that phone, try to walk in and see them in person.
Totally.
And just keep thinking of new places and new people to reach out to. Because whenever I hit a wall, that's my signal that, okay, we need a whole new group, a whole new way to do it and such. So
totally.
Thank you.
Stay strong.
Stay strong. All right, you guys. Well, our 30 minutes is up. our first session of school is over. No one commented on my teacher post, by the way. I was offended by that. I thought I was so clever and funny this morning.
I was busy. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Whatever. So for those of you who couldn't join, I'm going to post, well, you're obviously going to be watching the recording, so I don't need to tell you I'm recording this. If you do have any questions, you can either post under Charlotte's feed on the Chain Gang page, or you can post actually in the actual event, whatever you want to do. Also share, it would be great if those of you that were on the call would share once you go through and make your who do you know list and your bucket list, if you could just take a quick pic and share them, because you never know who that might someone else. So we're in this together. I think we have a great tribe of women, and I think that I want to sponsor some ladies. I want to get going. So let's pace together, hold ourselves accountable. So over the weekend, like I said, build your who do you know list, post pictures of your buckets, and then Charlotte's going to go over the follow-up on Monday and some other little tips and tricks as well. So with that being said, have a great Friday. Today's Friday. Have a great Friday. And we will talk soon. So that's it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye.